Welcome to Key Conversations, a Making It in the Music Business podcast. My goal for this podcast is to help you learn from these conversations with both experts and working musicians and serve as a guide to assist your career in the process. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Englehart. Let's get going. Hello from sunny Nashville. I am in the workspace of Catherine Forbes here. We are going to be chatting about branding and aesthetics and cool things that really matter for musicians. So Catherine is the founder of Designing the Row, designingtherow.com, and also the founder of a really awesome community online, which you can find on Facebook. This is for the ladies, Music Biz Besties, which is a really fun place to hang out. And she does some live events. So thanks for being here.
Well, thank you so much.
In your own house, in your own workspace. Thank you for having me here and doing this. So
yes, this is fun.
So tell me, well, first of all, you're first and foremost a website designer.
Right.
And you have a really gorgeous aesthetic everywhere you go, even your house. Everything is like just gorgeous. But tell me some of like maybe 3 key moments in your career that got you to being a website designer, specifically for musicians.
Sure. So I actually went to college for music technology, which is recording and sound engineering. And I didn't feel like I was learning enough to be efficient in that. So the professor actually did web coding, and we took a couple classes in that. So I just said, hey, can I make a website for my senior project instead of recorded an album? And can I put my piano music and my designs that I'd done for friends on that website as my project? So that was that. So wow, I think that was like the first key moment. And then I came to Nashville, had no idea anything about the music industry because I'm a classical pianist, and I ended up in artist management and was just trying to figure out how I fit into that company, and realized like this was 2011, so websites were still largely code. But I realized that I could help them make changes on the website instead of them paying $45 for someone to change a word. And I said, right, I can help here.
Yeah.
So that was, I guess, the second part where I realized that this might be a thing for me.
Yeah.
And then the third was when I started working full-time at that management company, my first job was to find a website company to do a rebrand, and I included myself in that list, and the rest is history.
Awesome. That's amazing. And now you've got you've done dozens and dozens and like 50, 60, 70, 80.
I think
a
it's
lot.
Between 50 and 60 now, yeah.
Amazing. Websites that are all gorgeous and functional and easy to update, all those things. So what's like the biggest problem that you see when you get an artist that's like, I need help designing my website? What's the number one thing that you're always like, yep, this is common. Yeah, you do. What is that thing?
The 2 words people come to me and say are clean and simple.
Okay.
I think a lot of times artist websites are just overwhelmed with a lot of clutter. And so people see my work and they say, I want that, and that is clean and simple.
Yeah.
So
tilt that towards me. There you go. Yeah, because that's your look.
That's my thing.
Yeah, it is clean and simple. And I think that makes it easier for someone who's visiting the website to navigate it and find the stuff that you really want them to find.
Right.
So that's awesome. Okay, clean and simple. Lacking cleanliness.
Cleanliness.
No dirty websites. What else? What else do you see that is fairly common when someone's trying to do their own?
They don't know what to feature. So I always ask people, well, what do you want visitors to take action on? So if you have a homepage that has everything on it, what do you want people to look at?
Yeah.
Like they're probably going to end up just looking at your Twitter feed and forgetting that you have a tour or a new album because you've just put everything on it. So I always say, what is your main goal? And if you don't have one, then make it your email signups.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So how can you tell people about what you're doing and make them take action on it?
I love that. Yeah. I love that. How do you incorporate social media into their website aesthetic? Is that something that is of concern with you? If you design this gorgeous website, but then their social media headers like tie-dye colors or something like super dated and it's not their brand at all, how do you do work in that realm, connecting those dots?
Yeah, some of my packages include social media graphics so that everything online can look nice.
Match up. Do you see
Yes.
that that's a common problem as well, just like misalignment?
Yeah, and I think one easy thing that everyone can do, like right now, is just go to all your social channels and make your default picture the same. Because if you have a black and white on one, or this nice colorful one on another, and a live shot on another, someone might be confused, like, oh, I don't know if this is the same person. But if it's the same picture all across, it's very recognizable without even thinking.
Yeah, and then there's that familiarity, which, really feeds into the relationship, someone feeling like they're getting to know you because they are like, yes, I'm sure about this.
Right.
And yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
How do you decide what colors to use for a particular artist or band, or in fonts? Like, how do you decide the creative if they don't know?
If they don't know, I always start with what it's going to look like before I even go into laying out a website.
What do you mean? What
The colors are, what the photos are, what the fonts are, before I even try to lay it all out.
Got it. Yep.
So I figure out colors by the pictures. I always require pretty much that people have a nice photo shoot done, a professional photo shoot, and I pull colors from that because then it ties everything together.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like a color picker, you actually get like a hex code, which is a 6-digit code that can become like your brand color.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you see that everywhere, and instead of just being like red, and then you have like a maroon, and then you have a bright red, and I've seen websites where like, no, my theme is red, but there's like 9 different colors there, and it looks really unprofessional versus like the exact code that becomes yours
every time. Yeah.
And you memorize like mine.
I was gonna say I have my
15 B9 B2 is that's the teal you see on my music website in the Key of Success stuff, and it's a little bit everywhere. It's not like overwhelming, but it's
consistent on everything. Not like oh, I'm using Canva for this, so I'll just eyeball it here and Photoshop on this, so like this looks right, and then the website's a different one.
Yeah. Canva. And I'll put this in the show notes along with your websites and everything. Canva.com is I'm a Photoshop person, but once I discovered Canva, I think I've opened my Photoshop like twice in the past year because I just love Canva. It's so easy to make graphics that are the exact size for Facebook or whatever you want, and they have really great assets like photos and graphics and things like that. It's really...
I even have an Adobe Creative Cloud account, and I use Canva more often because I can do it on my desktop and then pick up my laptop and go to Starbucks and pick up right where I left off.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What other tools do you use when you're designing?
Mostly Photoshop, Illustrator, and Canva.
Photoshop, Illustrator.
And then if you want to upload your photo shoot photos and pick your hex codes like you were talking about, just go to color.adobe.com. Or adobe.color.com. I'll have to look it up.
We'll figure that out. It will be in the show notes, the right one.
And it'll come up. It picks like 5 different moods for you. So you upload your photo, and it's like, here's colorfuls, and here's bright, and here's dark and moody, and
I love that.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
really fun.
The brooding songwriter can choose that, and then like the bright, happy band can choose it. Ooh, that's awesome. I'm gonna.
So if you don't know what you're doing, then there's tools out there to help you.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And you.
Yes.
Great. So what about like overall aesthetic? Like when you take a step back and you look at the website, like what are you usually trying to communicate besides like the action that you want them to take? Like how can you decide, like based on those color things, right? Like if there's a moody, or do you listen to people's music to sort of decide the overall feel, in addition to the action? Like what's that process like for you?
Yeah, so I'll listen to music if it's available. And then I do send them several different palettes and just say, which one do you like? Which one are you feeling?
That's cool.
Yeah. And then sometimes we'll pick a palette and I'll think that one color is going to be the main color, and then by the time I get to laying it out, it's totally different. So I pick a palette and then just see how it all flows together when I'm designing.
Do you normally have a lot of white backgrounds, or does the background color change? Because I've seen a lot of most of the clean websites that I really love tend to have white backgrounds, I notice.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of white, and I actually sometimes get requests for no white.
Oh.
And then if there's a picture that doesn't have any white in it, which is very possible, I actually tend to stray away from white because it can look forced. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it really depends.
So what do you use instead? Do you go like opposite and do dark backgrounds with light fonts? Or
It could be dark, or I'll just pull like a light gray or a beige or something and make that the lightest color instead of a white.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. If a photo has no white in it,
Don't force it, yeah.
don't force the white thing. Okay, that's very cool. What are your when someone's doing a photo shoot? What are the best photos to get? Like, is there a specific format or size, like landscape versus that are more usable for you, like on a white background or in scenery, or like what ends up being better to use that you don't toss?
Right. So background is really up to you. If you want a very plain website, then go find a plain background, a white wall. But I think scenery really plays out nice as well. And then make sure you get it in that landscape mode, and not crop too close to your face, because you want to think about mobile. When you're cropping to mobile, it's going to take that wide image and then crop it to tall. So if you have your whole face taking up the whole image, then all of a sudden, like, all we're going to be looking at is your nose.
Great.
Yes.
Note to self, nose to self.
Yes, nose to self.
Nose to self. Landscape, not too cropped in my face. Great.
Which is also good for, like, Facebook headers and Twitter headers.
Yep. Yeah, instead of stretching out the portrait.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Portrait size. Yeah, that's actually really helpful. I'm kind of just thinking like, I wonder what my photos are looking like on mobile now. Dun, dun, dun. So let's shift gears for a second, because that was all like a bunch of super valuable stuff. And, you know, we're talking to musicians who are all making a career doing what they love. And a lot of us are working from home in between jobs, or, you know, with a part-time job, or we're teaching. But being here for the day and working with you, I also see that, like, no matter what you're doing, whether you're creating something for yourself or for someone else, like, working from your own space, like, takes something.
Yeah.
So we were chatting about this a little bit, and I thought it would be fun to sort of bring it in from a different perspective other than a musician perspective of, like, what it takes to actually be productive when you could stay in your pajamas all day. So what are some things that you do to, like, keep the work flowing, getting the work in? Because that's half of our job, is doing work to get the work.
Right.
But then once you get the work, also just making sure your nose to the grindstone, you hit those deadlines. So what are some things that you do that help you to, stay productive?
Yeah, so you can see, nobody else can see, my board over there. I have a big bulletin board with every client that I have has a sticky note. And as they move through my process, I move them across my board. So it's a really visual representation. I'm very good at visual things, obviously. So in the mornings, I just sit at my desk and I see where everybody is in my process and dive in. So that helps, obviously.
That's very cool. And I wonder if, like, creating that board, maybe we should take a picture and put it on the show notes or on your website somewhere, or Instagram it. We'll link to that. But it's kind of like, whatever, we're all in processes. Like, I'm in the process of scoring a film, and I have to do some new music here, and or if you're in the process of releasing a record, like, what are those, 8 categories that you have to move through? You personally have to move through. Like, where am I now? I kind of like that idea a lot.
It took me about a year of actually doing websites to figure out that I had a process. So once I figured it out, then everybody goes through it. So why not just put them on a board and do it that way?
I love that.
So I'm sure, like, I don't write songs and I don't compose music, but I'm sure that there's a process that you go through every time.
Yeah, I think it's funny because, I'm in Nashville for the CD Baby conference. The last couple episodes have been from live from that conference, right? And one of the things I learned is that for myself, that I think I always knew but was able to put words to, is that I definitely have a very clear process for almost everything I do. And I have a word. Like, everyone's got their thing. So we'll hear with Dina Bach, she got that her thing is discipline. She writes a song a week, and she's on week 93. And she's like, I do this thing, like, why aren't people, like, latching onto it? And I was like, well, who do you need to be? Like, what do you need to have as a character trait so that you get that result? And she's like, discipline. And, like, she's like, oh, that's the thing. That's the conversation. That's the value. Right. And mine is communication. So what is yours for your business, your aesthetic, your processes? Do you have one?
I think it's probably organization.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I get that.
Yes.
I get that. I'm looking around her room.
It's,
Organization. And, like, what do you get when organization is present? Like, what's the benefit of having that be your value?
I know exactly what I'm working on and how to prioritize when things are going to be done.
Yeah, productivity is there, and like it's kind of like freeing too to be organized, because you don't have to like be messing around with like, oh my god, what's next. So there's probably a lot of like peace of mind around organization.
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Organization. So the organization queen over here. Yeah, that's what she does for your website and in your life. Yes. It's really great. So for those of you that are watching this, these are some gorgeous books. I'm going to pull out my favorite one that Catherine's designed, separate from the website stuff. It's just beautifully designed. It's the tour manager, and it's literally everything you need on any given day. It's undated, so you write in the venue or the festival, the load and address, all this stuff, the announcements, when the sales dates, the contact, hotel lodging, the guarantee, the dues, the dues, like what is due?
The day of shows.
The day of shows.
Like what they owe you,
DOS, what they owe you, the merch sales. Like on one page, all of the data you could possibly ever want for a tour. And I am trying to figure out how I can sell these to all of you guys. But right now they're on her website, designingtheroad.com, and I think they're beautiful. They're on Amazon, and I think I wish I had this when I was touring. I actually want to go on tour so I could.
I want to go on tour
just so I could use this book. So this is really cool. I mean, they're just beautifully designed because Catherine, obviously, you have such a beautiful design, but you also have this background in artist management, and you've created a community of musicians. So you kind of know what it takes to like be organized.
Right. It says it right there on the front.
The 12-week daily planner designed to keep you organized on the road. Guys, it's amazing. Tell us a little bit, before we finish up, tell us a little bit about Music Biz Besties.
Sure. So Music Biz Besties started off as a Facebook group when I was starting my business. And I thought it would be like a mastermind so I could find people to do like what we've been doing today, just bounce ideas off each other and just have a community of people doing their own thing.
Sure.
And then the first week it turned into about 300 people. And
how did it
because everybody else wanted it, I guess.
And how did you decide that it was just going to be for females, or did that just happen organically? That
was on purpose, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, the name Music Biz Besties is about as girly as it gets.
Besties!
Yeah.
It's pretty girly.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
And now we're almost to 4,000 people in 2 years. So it's a online community with people all over the world. But I do a lot of live events here in Nashville. There's a monthly songwriter series that you can come to, and then online there's a job forum, there's a blog, there's a directory. So it's basically just my way of connecting everybody.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had a Music Biz Besties lunch this week where I met a bunch of amazing women, and luckily you allowed them to bring their spouses and boyfriends and the dude that they manage or whatever. So dudes are allowed.
Dudes are allowed.
It is catered to the ladies.
Yes. The girl that I host the songwriter series with, Tori Martin, she moved to Nashville about a year ago, and I'll remember the first time she came to one of the meetups, she brought her husband.
Yeah.
And so it was like this group of like 12 girls at this like cute cabana place, and then her husband was sitting there like, oh. Hey guys.
Hey gals.
And she was like, I just invited him to the group. I was like, oh, it doesn't work like that.
That's not how it That's okay.
But no, he's been great, and he helps us do lots of things.
That's awesome. It's nice to know that there's a place where you just don't need to, you don't need to worry about anything that a female might worry about. Not that I'm in a lot of different musicians groups, and I rarely come across people being jerks, because I feel like that we are all in it together. And I mean, my group in the Keep Success on Facebook is definitely like a place to practice pitching. So like pitching is welcome and promoting is welcome, as long as it's done in a way that you might get feedback and you're not just sharing a link. So I feel like you create the group that you want to be a part of, and like that's something I've always wanted, was like, I want a place to practice pitching, but so many groups are like, no promotion, no links, no. So if and there's a lot of entrepreneurs and web designers and dudes doing this, so it's nice to sort of have a place for females. Not that it's a web designing group, it is a musician group, right? But that's really awesome. So nice job growing that, so crazy. So where do you hang out on the internet? I already said designingtheroad.com to get your books and see all your gorgeous aesthetic and all the stuff that you create, but where else are you on social?
So my Facebook group is Music Biz Besties for the ladies. But other than that, Designing the Row and Music Biz Besties on Instagram and Twitter and...
What's your favorite platform?
Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. It's becoming my favorite for sure.
Even though, like, my Facebook group is my favorite thing, but...
Yeah. Then, Instagram.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So Designing the Row and Music Biz Besties all over the place. We'll put all these links that we talked about in the show notes. And thanks so much for taking the time and doing this with me.
This is fun.
Please don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube if you like this podcast. Musicians like you keep me inspired and motivated, and for doing that, I'm offering you a free 6-page guide to pitching. This guide will unlock the keys to priming your pitch, where you can get started getting a yes when you pitch anything to anyone. Grab it at inthekey.co/prime. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time on Key Conversations. The theme song on this podcast was provided by yours truly. If you're interested to find out more about my composing and songwriting projects, go to inthekey.co/Cheryl. If you're a musician looking to get some real results for your music career, then head to inthekey.co/results, where I've created a bunch of different kinds of resources just for you. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their point-and-click editor. All of the features you can imagine for a possible website are built in. So, because you're a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special month free trial plus 15% off if you do decide to sign up, just for you. Go to inthekey.co/make-a-site to get the offer.
Pretty sure that you're the missing part.